If you work in building safety, surveying or property management, you've probably heard of the term PAS9980 and the EWS1 process. But for leaseholders and freeholders, it's just as important to understand how these two things actually connect. That's why they're so central to achieving proportionate evidence-based fire risk assessments in the UK. In this video, I'll break down how two frameworks work together, what they mean for compliance, and how to navigate the legal, financial, and other responsibilities. Over the past few years, the industry has moved away from blanket caution under the Consolidated Advice Note and more towards an evidence-based, proportionate approach. That's where the PAS9980 and the EWS1 form comes in. PAS9980 sets out how to assess the building's external wall systems through what's known as the FRAEW. It provides the technical foundation, the detailed fire evidence behind any decisions. EWS1, on the other hand, takes a technical outcome and translates this into lender-facing forms with ratings from A1 and B2. This rating is where lender evaluates the use, informs mortgage, valuations and financing decisions. So in short, the PAS9980 provides the technical analysis and the EWS1 communicates that analysis into a clear, standardised way for the wider market. A fire risk appraisal of external walls, or FRAEW, is carried out by the competent fire engineer, who examines the building's materials, construction details, and the fire stopping systems within the building's external walls. It's not just about whether the materials are combustible, it's about understanding the full picture and how the wall system is built, whether cavity barriers and fixtures are properly installed, and how fire might spread in reality. The end result is proportionate evidence-based fire risk profiles that identifies real-world problems and measures rather than applying unnecessarily or overly cautious remediation. Once the FRAEW is complete, the findings are summarised in the EWS1 form. This form gives the building a rating between A1 and B2, which lenders can then use to make financial and valuation decisions. Ratings in the A1 to A3 range generally mean there is no remedial action required, although the specific outcome may vary depending on the level of residual risk. Ratings in the B1 or B2 range indicate there are some form of remedial action or interim safety measures will likely be necessary. Because these ratings directly affect mortgageability and sales, the EWS1 form is a key part of how the property market manages fire safety risk. If the FRAEW identifies an unacceptable level of fire risk, remediation or interim measures will be required. That could mean removing unsafe cladding or insulating material, improving cavity barriers, or installing enhanced fire detection systems. In some cases, interim measures such as a waking watch may be introduced while permanent remediation is planned or underway. The process is always risk-driven, meaning the actions taken should be proportionate to the level of risk identified. The findings of the PAS9980 assessment and the results of the EWS1 ratings have an important legal and financial consequences. Building owners, managing agents, and other responsible persons have a duty to act on the findings and ensure safety and compliance. A lower EWS1 rating can impact a building's insurance premiums, increase service charges, and an additional liability for leaseholders. It's therefore crucial that all parties understand the legal obligation, work collaboratively, and manage risk, cost, and in a fair and transparent way. When remediation works are required, there are several funding options available. Government programmes such as the Building Safety Fund or the Cladding Safety Scheme can help cover the costs of eligible works. For buildings that don't qualify for government assistance, reserve or sinking funds can be used responsibly to manage costs and minimise the financial impact on the leaseholders. Open and honest communications between managing agents, freeholders, residents is key. Making sure everyone understands what's happening, why it's necessary, and how the costs are being managed. Ultimately, the goal is to keep the building safe, compliant, financially secure for everybody involved. In conclusion, the PAS9980 and the EWS1 are two essential tools that work hand in hand. PAS9980 provides a technical evidence through the FRAEW, and the EWS1 communicates that evidence clearly to lenders and stakeholders. Together, they drive a proportionate risk-based approach that balances safety, compliance, financial stability, ensuring buildings are both safe and marketable in the modern regulatory landscape. If you have any questions about how this affects your building, then please get in touch below.